So, hello and welcome to Assay TV. Today we're talking with John Prineas, who is the Executive Chairman of St George Mining. John, great to see you today. I'd like to start off by talking about your project there, Mount Alexander nickel sulphide project. What exactly have you got there? What have you found so far?
Thank you very much, Leah, for offering this opportunity for me to talk to investors about our work at the Mount Alexander project. It's a wonderful project. We have a nickel copper sulphide discovery in Western Australia. It's in an established mining region next to the Agnew-Wiluna belt where BHP has its flagship nickel mines. Noticed today that BHP announced it was in talks with Tesla to do a long-term off-take agreement. So it's wonderful territory for nickel sulfides. Western Areas has another project just up the road, the Cosmos project, which will be coming into a couple of years. So we've got established infrastructure. It's a wonderful jurisdiction to be in. In these challenging times, biosecurity is also very important. WA is probably one of the leading biosecurity jurisdictions in the world. So it's a great project, nickel copper sulphide in WA. We've discovered 4 deposits so far across a 5-kilometre strike length of the Cathedrals belt. We think there's more. These are all shallow discoveries, so we've got a lot more to discover as we go down to depth.
So it's not very deep, as you say. What depth are we talking about?
Yeah, at the moment our discoveries start 30 metres below surface, so that's ridiculously shallow for nickel sulfides. A lot of our peers are already down to 1,000 metres below surface, so we're very, very lucky. The deposits are virtually sticking out of the ground, begging to be mined, and then that's one of the plans that we have for the coming 12 months. It's an intrusive style system, so similar to the North American type mineral systems where you often find more mineralisation at depth in addition to what you find near surface. So that's particularly exciting. We're already very, very happy with what we found at the shallow extents, but the possibility of finding a lot more at depth is fantastic.
So what sort of grades are we talking about that you've found so far?
Yeah, so we've got nickel, copper, but we also have cobalt and platinum group metals. And for each of those commodities, we think we've got grades which are good enough for a standalone deposit of each of those commodities. So our nickel is anything between 4 to 8% nickel. Copper can be 2 to 4% copper. Cobalt's at 0.2, which is pretty standard for a cobalt deposit. And platinum group metals can be up to 6 to 8 grams per tonne PGE. So they're fantastic grades. It's high grade. And it's got this polymetallic nature, which we think in the end is going to make it twice as valuable as just a plain nickel sulfide deposit.
And you're drilling at the moment, yeah? What's your current drill program?
We are. The plan this year was to try and find these deeper extensions to the mineralisation. So we did some new geophysical surveys at the beginning of the year, audio magnetotelluric and magnetotelluric surveys. They can see a lot deeper than your standard EM surveys, and they successfully identified some deep conductive features below the mineralisation that we've already intersected at shallow depth. So they've given us a great sort of target base to start drilling. We started drilling these deeper areas May, and we have successfully intersected thick intrusive units with some low-grade mineralisation. So we haven't found the money shot yet, but these thick units, so 50 metres with 15 metres plus of mineralisation, are a fantastic host for a potential massive sulphide deposit. We're waiting for the downhole EM surveys for these holes to tell us where they light up something particularly prospective, but we've certainly found a target horizon to continue exploration, search for that massive sulphide deposit at depth.
And you have cash in the bank to fund all of this, yeah?
Yes, we did some capital raisings earlier this year, raised over $7 million plus. So we currently still have about $6.2 million in the bank. It's certainly enough to continue our deep drilling program and hopefully deliver that excellent success that we were waiting for with the deep drilling.
And what are your plans for sort of bringing this project into production? I believe you're looking at some sort of starter pit, and then progressing from there.
Yeah, absolutely. So our strategy in 2020 was a dual strategy to do this deeper drilling and find the deeper, bigger accumulations of mineralisation. But as I said earlier, the shallow deposits are virtually sticking out of the ground and begging to be mined. So we have started a scoping study for the development and mining of these shallow deposits. We're going to focus on the Stricklands deposit first. We did the resource drill out there in June this year. Entech are our external geological consultants. They're working on the resource estimate. We think that's really very easy open pit deposit there. We've had thick intersections, 17 plus meters of mineralization, so intuitively you already know it's going to be pretty easy to mine. We got XPS in Canada, subsidiary of Glencore, and experts in the kind of mineralization that we have, doing the metallurgical performance and coming up with a flow sheet. XPS do the Raglan mine in Canada, which has a similar nickel, copper, cobalt, PGE type of suite of metals. So we're quite happy that they're doing the work, and we think they'll come up with a flow sheet that's going to give us an ability to optimize and maximize the value of a mineralization by getting maximum credits for all those metals.
So you've already done some metallurgical test work, I believe. And what sort of concentrates are you going to be able to produce, and how does that fit with the demand coming from the batteries markets?
Yeah, so we've done some preliminary work with Strategic Metallurgy in Perth, both on massive and disseminated mineralization. We've produced separate copper and nickel concentrates. The nickel concentrate over 16% nickel, copper concentrate 38% nickel, and most importantly, very good credits for cobalt at about 0.55% cobalt, and platinum group metals at over 18 grams per tonne total PGE. So you get a lot of money for those. Nickel, of course, is coming into increasing commentary at the moment. You're hearing a lot of things out of Tesla. Elon Musk said he rang the chief executives of the largest mining company saying, please produce more nickel. That's a very strong indication that there's going to be demand sort of building up. I think you're not going to see a boom tomorrow. It could be 2 or 3 years away, but it certainly is a good time to be in nickel and bringing along nickel projects. We've made our discovery, so it's not a case of just sniffing around for nickel mineralization. We know we can produce something to meet this market demand.
Absolutely, because it has to be the right sort of nickel, doesn't it?
It has to be a good battery grade nickel. So we've got that. It's a high grade, it's pure. Our med work confirmed that we don't have any deleterious elements in there. So it should be very, very in demand for battery grade production.
Fantastic. And as you said earlier, I mean, you're in WA there. So I guess that the pandemic hasn't slowed down your operations too much?
No, it hasn't. I think we all sort of paused a little bit at the beginning of the year just to see how it was going to pan out. But once the border security was in place and the controls for the COVID-19 were in place, it's business as usual. So it hasn't slowed us down at all. And fingers crossed it stays that way, and we can continue in a business as usual manner.
Fantastic. And so you're working on this scoping study. When do you expect to have some results from that?
Yeah, we're targeting last quarter of this year, so November, December. We hope to have some information to market on the JORC resource and some economics around that potential starter mine.
Fantastic. So you've got a busy rest of the year ahead of you. Best of luck with the scoping study and the continued drilling campaign. But thank you very much for giving us an insight into St George mining there. Thanks, John.
Thank you very much, Leah. Thank you.